UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of Sedriques Dumas versus Denis Tuiliulin. I actually did very well on predictions on this card, outside of the women's fights, which, to be fair, I didn't expect to be on the card in the first place, so that's my excuse there. But other than those fights, I did pretty well. I think I swept every men's fight on the card completely correct. So I went with Sedriques Dumas. I said he would win this fight by decision, 29-28. He won the fight by decision, 29-28. Very good performance by Sedriques. Not a good performance. Awful fight again. I don't know why they want Sedriques Dumas around. He doesn't seem to put on very fun fights. First round, it was kind of him doing his thing, and then Tuiliulin kind of hit a reverse on a takedown. Sedriques Dumas wasn't afraid to shoot his own takedowns here, but a lot of his control in the fight was while Tuiliulin was up on his knee, up against a cage. I just skimmed through all of the earlier fights that I missed. And then in round two, Sedriques Dumas starts getting his hands going a bit, starts landing some decent shots on Tuiliulin as he's wading in slowly into range. And then round three, Tuiliulin also has some control time, but Dumas has had too much. He's already outdone him on the feet with the damage. So it was a close fight when it comes to rounds 1 and 3, but Tuiliulin was easier to control than Sedriques Dumas was, so there you go. Sedriques wins. Not a great performance yet again from him. I don't know. Sometimes there's just fighters where they're never going to be fun. You got to consider things, you know? We move on. Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. So this fight was Jai Herbert, got outstruck the first round. But he dropped Rolando Bedoya in the first round. And he dropped him very well. He dropped him with a good 1-2. And he kept landing it. And I guess the story of this fight was when Bedoya let his hands go and started throwing some combos, he was landing on Jai Herbert. But he didn't have the power to finish him, which is kind of crazy when you're Jai Herbert. Should have the power to finish him. But all good. I'm only joking. But Jai Herbert's jab was the winner of this fight. From what I was watching, I watched it on 2x speed. And, man, that jab was fast. I'm joking now. It was on 2x speed. But Jai Herbert was landing his jab. Round 3, started picking it up even more. Rolando Bedoya ended up just sort of walking into the jab a lot of the time as well, trying to get his hands going. So Herbert really played the range game, stuck at range, got the jab going, put that in Rolando Bedoya's face every now and again, and it kind of kept him honest. Close second round, third round, Jai Herbert. First round, Jai Herbert knocked him down. So clearly a round to him. We move on. Up the card to another fight, which was Sam Hughes versus Viktoriia Dudakova. Sam Hughes won. She was on top position more after the first, and I thought she lost the first round, but she won the second and third with top position and landing little baby shots and ground and pound. And Sam Hughes has beaten an attractive woman again, so we're just stuck for prospects at strawweight. I know that you could say, oh, well, the winner is the prospects. They're not. The hot women are the prospects, and Walder Frey is beating all of them. So another win for Sam Hughes. I guess she won't be next for Molly McCann. Maybe we do Molly McCann versus Viktoriia Dudakova next. Who knows? We move on. Didn't really care about the fight. Boring as hell anyway. We move on up the card. Guram Kutateladze versus Jordan Vucenic. By the way, I got the Herbert fight right. Tuiliulin fight, Dumas fight right. And lost the female fight there. Guram Kutateladze versus Jordan Vucenic. Jordan looked good, man. Jordan looked good, and I'm sad about the way this fight went because Guram won because he weren't on full camp, dude. He stalemated out Jordan Vucenic in the late second and the third round, and he did good himself with landing his own shots, but at no point was this guy beating up Jordan Vucenic in this fight. For a good 5 minutes of that first round, Vucenic was styling on him, okay? Put him down, hurt him bad, couldn't quite get the finish. Reversing takedowns, amazing scrambles early in the second, and you saw after Vucenic went for that big dynamic takedown scramble. He's not fully prepared. A week's notice, upper weight class. I know he fought recently, but that was also on like a week's notice because he's just desperate for competition. And it paid off. He got in the UFC, he got in Abu Dhabi. He got Guram Kutateladze in his debut upper weight class. Not the best, but I thought he looked really good. And I would say this, I know a lot of people are waiting for these prospects to get fraud checked, and a lot of people would say this is a fraud check. I actually think, seeing that it's Guram Kutateladze, Vucenic had him shooting for his life in moments. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing well on the feet in the first round, and I didn't even see any low kicks out of him, which is normally what he goes to. I don't know what the reason was for that, but he was looking good. His boxing was looking good. Guram eventually started taking over in the fight. In the second round, he got top position and just started to wear on Jordan Vucenic as the round went on, and Jordan didn't have as much snap in his shots anymore. You could see it after he stuffed the takedown in the early second. He didn't have the same snap in his shots. Round 3, Guram started taking over, but Jordan nearly had that. He reset the round. He got his breath back. He went out there trying to get dominant position, shot for some takedowns. I think his coaches told him he was up 2-0, which is so bad of them. If they really did tell him that is so bad of them. He clearly lost the second. It was a close round, but he lost the second round, I thought, pretty clearly. So that is so bad of his coaches if they told him that he was up 2-0. But round 3, he tried to get the back. He slips off the back. Guram gets top position, and then that's kind of the fight for him. So, unfortunate, but I kind of expected this. I said Guram would win this fight on the later rounds, and he did win the fight via the later rounds. So, good job. Want to see Vucenic down a weight. He says he might stay at lightweight, though, so we'll see how it goes for him. Maybe that's a good division, and we just don't know, because we haven't seen it on full camp. We move on. Shamil Gaziev versus Don'Tale Mayes. I'd love to meme my way through this and say Shamil Gaziev, wow, what a goat this guy looked like in this fight. But I'm just going to be real with you guys. Man, he's just another shit heavyweight. Now, he's better than Don'Tale Mayes, and he's actually better than a lot of the dog trash heavyweights. But this guy and his heavy breathing in the third, like, you have to... Sorry. So Shamil gets a takedown in round 1, and he spends the round on top. Round 2... he does his thing on the feet, actually. He starts getting off some jabs and straight punches. And I don't think he got another takedown. No, he did get another takedown. And was mainly just sort of holding Don'Tale Mayes up against a cage. Round 3, he's dying. Both of them are gasping for air. It's not even been that crazy of a pace. They've thrown under 30 strikes. They've landed under 30 strikes. Shamil landed 29 and Don'Tale Mayes landed 22. And it was of 13 for Shamil and 17 for Don'Tale Mayes and 28 for Shamil, 25 for Don'Tale Mayes. That's not a crazy pace. And they are blowing air in round 3. With fucking Shamil loosening his mouthpiece to get more oxygen in as he's over-unders in clinch with Don'Tale Mayes. I mean, I know they had him walk out second, so he didn't get a breather in the cage before Don'Tale Mayes walked out and actually started the fight. So it's kind of a lot for Shamil Gaziev because he walked out second and he's just done that long walk to the cage already out of breath and then the fight's starting. So maybe Shamil's new technique should be to be the lower ranked guy or the underdog image, you know what I mean? So then he can walk out second or no, walk out first. He needs to be the favorite is what I'm saying. Walk out first. Get a breather in the cage once you've done that cage walk. But yeah, another dog shit performance, but he's a meme. Well done, Lucas Tracy. He's a meme. I find it funny. We'll see how far he can go, I guess. A funny meme of a fight for him would be him versus, like, Hamdi Abdul Wahab as soon as he's done taking roids. We move on. Up the card to another fight, which was Kaue Fernandes versus Mohammad Yahya. Now, this really did suck for Abu Dhabi because I believe this guy was an underdog, and I picked him as an underdog here because I was like, he actually is quite good. I remember this guy. When I first looked at the matchup, I thought, who's this random they found for Mohammad Yahya to win a fight in Abu Dhabi? And I started sort of like coping, like, oh, here we go. You know, the guy from Abu Dhabi getting a layup. And I was thinking and looking through Kaue Fernandes' fights and thinking, no, wait, this guy's really good. He's probably going to beat Mohammad Yahya. And he did. He destroyed him. Obliterated him in a round. Yahya had zero success, and I mean zero success in the fight. And Fernandes just beat the fuck out of him. Put him down, put him away. Low kicks, destroying Yahya's leg in that fight. It sucks for Abu Dhabi. It really does. Maybe those Russians can keep helping you guys out. Yeah, I mean, it really does suck for them. At least there's always those Russian guys that can come over and help. This was their first... No, but seriously, this was like India's Anshul Jabli for Abu Dhabi. And fucked it up. Shit the bed. Looked awful. Looked terrible. Like he couldn't fight at all. And Fernandes just schooled him. Really bad for Abu Dhabi because they put this guy on the posters. They had this guy at the open workout, like with Sandhagen and Umar. You know? So they really put a lot behind... We're going to have a guy that's good at fighting, finally. Oh, never mind. You know what I mean? So, tough, but maybe in another 10 years, the Middle East will have a good fighter, you know, out of the Middle East. Of course, Belal was born and raised in Chicago, America, trained in America his whole career. But either way, maybe one day they'll have a good fighter. So we'll see. But yeah, Kaue Fernandes destroyed him. And it does suck for UAE, and it sucks for the UFC because they need a guy from there. They can't just keep shipping these Russian guys over. Oh, we have nothing for Abu Dhabi. What's Dagestan saying? You know what I mean? Any of these guys ain't got fights? Let's bring them over. So that's what we're kind of getting now. We're getting Chechnyans, Dagestanis, because the Middle East has no native good fighter. So it's tough. Maybe they'll have it one day. Because even Anshul Jabli won his debut. But this guy's lost 2 in a row now, so he might get cut. We'll see. We move on. They're probably going to put him on the Abu Dhabi pay-per-view, though. Let's be honest. Give him one more chance, maybe. We move on. Azamat Murzakanov versus Alonzo Menifield. I went with Murzakanov by KO. He looked great. I actually thought at one point in this fight, let me know if you guys agree with me, he was winning so much. I was like, he's going to gas out here. He needs to be careful. Because he started towards the midway point of round 2. Almost, I want to say, like a minute before he got the KO. He actually started to break a little bit. Like he started to... I'm not coping. I'm being serious here. He did look like he started to slow down. And I think that's why he got the KO over Menifield. Hear me out. So he's busting up Menifield in round 1, landing whatever he wants. Menifield lands a few back, but he's moving with it all the time. And Menifield's just awful. Like covering up, not changing, not moving his feet, getting hit with massive shots against a shorter guy with shorter arms. Insane. Covering up in the pocket against him, getting kneed in the face a bunch. I have no idea how Menifield took those shots. And it surprises me because I thought Menifield was quite chinny. But he took the shots very well. So I guess he just saw all of them coming. But they were doing a massive amount of damage to his face. His nose was busted up. His eye was busted up. Round 2, Murzakanov doing the same thing. Now he's slowing down, though. And he's failed a takedown now. And he's slowing down a bit now. And then I think Menifield went, oh, he's starting to kind of lose a bit of pop and slow down. I'm going to go after him. And then boom, he gets chinned. I think that's literally what happened. I think Menifield, the whole fight was like, okay, let me stay composed. I'm not going to rush after him. I'm going to take the shots. Maybe he'll fade. And then he saw Murzakanov start to lose it a bit and then just walked straight into the combo that finished him. So I don't think Murzakanov was breaking. I just think it was like a chink in the armor moment where Menifield went, ooh, a chance, and then got slept because Murzakanov still fucking dangerous. So good job, Murzakanov. I don't know how his build is going to hold up at light heavyweight. He's kind of got the build of, someone said this in my chat while we were watching. He kind of has the build of like a John Jones era light heavyweight where they were all just fat welterweights basically. So we'll see if he sticks around. I think he'll do quite well. He looks dangerous as fuck. Nasty stand-up. It's just if someone can survive him for a bit longer, he's a very old guy. So, you know, if you can have a guy who's maybe more effective at low kicking at range on the back foot that can survive Murzakanov a bit longer, maybe they'll do something in those later rounds. So maybe book Murzakanov in a 5-rounder next against like a Krylov. That'd be good. That'd be a good matchup. Then they'd actually grapple with each other as well a bit. We move on. Up the card to another fight, which was Joel Alvarez versus Elves Brenner. Wow, he got a performance bonus for this. Good for him. I picked Joel Alvarez to win by finish. He won by finish. I said this in the fight, in the build-up. I said, you can't afford to get hurt by Alvarez because he will finish you if he hurts you. And that's been the story of his career, really. If he doesn't hurt you and you get off to a good start against him, he seems to not be able to sort of get momentum back. But if he gets off to a good start, there's almost no way of stopping him. That's just kind of how it is. It's Jalen Turner. It's Jalen Turner with IQ. I'm not making, that's no joke intended there, but it's basically Jalen Turner with better IQ. With maybe less fast twitch muscle, guys. It's all balanced. I'm joking. No, but he's basically Jalen Turner with better IQ. He wouldn't leave like a dropped opponent on the ground. You know what I mean? Like he's a finisher. He pounces on things. He's got more finishing instinct. And he was piecing up Brenner the whole fight. Now, Brenner was landing, and he was landing his left hook, and maybe on another night, one of those does put down Alvarez, but he's not got a bad chin for a huge guy. 6'3" in the lightweight division. Fucking insane. I say make him fight Jalen Turner just to get rid of one of these fucking weight bullies. It annoys me because they destroy every striking prospect that can beat grapplers. And then they fight the grapplers after they've beaten all the striking prospects that can beat grapplers, and they get fucking ragdolled. It's so annoying. It's such a weird problem right now in the divisions, especially lightweight. All these lanky guys that get tossed around by grapplers beating all the strikers that can actually beat the grapplers. It's so annoying. But yeah, Joel Alvarez piecing him apart. Body shots galore in the early round. Straight shots to the body. O'Malley style. Straight right to the body. Jab to the body. You don't often see that in the lower weight classes. And then in round 2, he started picking it up again. Big knees. He was doing it on beat in the 3rd round. I was singing a bit of a song as he was doing it. Brenner would have moments. Brenner would go for takedowns and fail them. And you could see that was starting to bug him as well, because Alvarez would get the whizzer and just sort of toss him over. Even though Brenner had a good entry, Alvarez was still able to just sort of use his frame to toss the weight of Elves Brenner off of him, basically, with the whizzer. And in round 3, he ends up finishing Joel Alvarez. So he ends up finishing Elves Brenner. So really good performance by Joel Alvarez. Again, I don't like the weight bully stuff. I really, especially when you're fighting a striker and you're 6'3" with this reach and this, that. I don't like it. I think it's gay. You're just going to lose to a grappler anyway. It's so annoying to watch. But yeah, Joel Alvarez won. Caught him with a right hand in the 3rd. Hurt Elves Brenner bad. Went for the finish. Massive knees, massive knees. Brenner goes down. He finishes the job. Really good job by Joel Alvarez. Really, really good job. He almost had a Darce choke at one point in the 1st round, I believe, as well, that I actually thought was in until the end of the round. So that was very close too. So good win from him. And to be fair, for the UFC, they needed this. Spanish guy, ethnic Spanish guy as well. Ain't many of them left. Ethnic Spanish guy. Because they have Ilia, so they can do a Spanish event where he defends a belt because he is Spanish. He's a citizen of Spain. But they don't have the Spanish guy. You know what I mean? There's never been a Spanish guy. Well, there has, but not recent. In recent era, there's none others than Ilia Topuria, and he's Georgian, and then moved to Germany, and then moved to Spain when he was a teenager. So it's like they're adopting Ilia Topuria, but their hometown guy is what they want. You know what I mean? So I think that's the guy, Joel Alvarez. And I say sort of get him on the Ilia card. He wants to be on Abu Dhabi. He called out Bobby Green. So get him on that Ilia card, because the Spanish fans are going to be watching at a good time for them. Put him on high up on the prelims against a name, not a ranked opponent, but maybe Jalen Turner. I don't mind those two lanky guys fighting each other. And then the winner of those two, if it's Joel Alvarez, then you do the Spain card and you put him against like a ranked lightweight on that card with Ilia Topuria as the champion, because you can't do a Spain card where it's just Ilia and then... So anyway, here's a bunch of British guys and Americans and Brazilians on the card underneath it. Like, you got to have at least one other guy on the card that's Spanish, you know. We move on. They're going to have Topuria's brother on there who's also Spanish citizen, like, you know what I'm saying. But they needed a grassroots, born and bred Spaniard. Now they have one. So hopefully he can keep the wins together. We move on. Up the card, Mackenzie Dern versus Lupi Godinez. I went with Lupi Godinez. I actually thought she could have won the... what rounds? The 2nd and 3rd round. I thought she did a bit more better shot selection and landed the better shots out of the two of them. Very close, though. I'm not going to say robbery. I know every close fight goes to Dern, which is insane. And this one was unanimous. I can't believe all 3 judges agreed on it. But Dern was swinging heat. She was landing sometimes, and she got the nose of Lupita Godinez. But in this fight, I don't know about you guys, but Dern's shoulders are insane. Never noticed that before. Just saying. Now, I'm saying her stand-up did look better. She's clearly improving and taking time and going to the gym. And maybe I should hit pads. You know what I mean? Like, revolutionary stuff in women's MMA here. So she's working on stuff. And she had a good grappling exchanges in the 1st round and picked up in the 2nd and 3rd. But, yeah, it's just her shoulders are looking crazy in this one. Maybe they've always looked crazy and I've never noticed them because I've been looking elsewhere. But, yeah. Good win from her. Lupi Godinez kept doing dumb decisions in the grappling exchanges sometimes. But, yeah, she just didn't capitalize enough on Dern on the feet. I just thought that Lupi catching Dern with her chin up in the air with a left hook that span her head like Gordon Pimlet shit was better than Dern, like, landing a stiff jab on her. That's all. Because I thought, oh, this is more likely to get a finish. Even if it doesn't look as hard, this is a finishing shot that she's getting caught with. But it went to Dern. It is what it is. It was close enough. We move on. Up the card to another fight, which was Michael Chiesa versus Tony Ferguson. It's not even because he's old anymore. He's shit. He's shit at fighting. And it's sad. And in true Tony Ferguson fashion, he faked a retirement. I want to say I'm glad he didn't retire because they had a whole fucking movie made for Michelle Waterson and I didn't see no B-roll playing. Or whatever. It was not B-roll, but like I didn't see no fucking opening scene of a movie of Tony Ferguson's career playing in that arena in Abu Dhabi. So no shit he didn't retire. How dare you do that for Michelle Waterson but not Tony Ferguson? Fuck you, UFC. I'm glad he didn't retire. And the best part was he baited Chiesa to give up his mic time so he could not retire on the mic. Based Tony Ferguson. Chiesa wins. Got handed a free win. I said submission early for Chiesa. He got the submission early. And he's too big for Ferguson. He's 20 pounds of muscle bigger than him. Ferguson's not a welterweight. He just looks like a skinny, fat lightweight at welterweight. He's not a welterweight at all. I don't know what he's doing up in that division. He's a lightweight. And he's just shit, man. I'm sorry. I love Tony Ferguson. This hurts me. It really does hurt me to say because I've been the guy being like, oh, it's just he hasn't got the fast twitch anymore. He just doesn't, he's too injured now. But watching him get back up from that takedown in the first and give up his back like that, I don't know who he beats in the UFC. It used to be a point where I was like, all right, Tony can't compete against anyone good, but he'll beat Jim Miller or something. I don't know anymore. I don't know if he beats Clay Guida. I really don't. I think Chase Hooper subs him in a round and beats the fuck out of him. And I never used to think that. So it's got to that point. And it's so sad. I'm a huge Tony Ferguson fan. You guys know I am. I literally said he was up on the scorecards against Gaethje and it was an early stoppage. I was such a massive Tony Ferguson fan. I was lying to myself. I don't know if he beats Jordan Levitt. I think Trey Ogden fucking wet blankets him. So it's like, what are we doing with him still in the UFC? He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to fight anywhere but the UFC. He's probably going to want to fight again. So what do you do with Tony Ferguson? I think you make the Trevor Peek matchup. And hear me out, yeah? It's something that Peek will give him opportunities to succeed. Peek's not going to try and ground him out and hold him there. He's not going to try and submit him. He's going to be throwing standing fucking hammer fists with his chin up in the air against Tony Ferguson. That's kind of what you have to look towards. I know Peek's got a fight coming up soon, but if he wins that one or loses even, do that, please. That's the only one I want to see. Because I think he loses to literally everyone else. Sadly. Fuck, man. It's so sad to see. But yeah, Chiesa gets the choke. Ferguson had some moments on the feet where I was like, hold on. Something could happen here. But then Chiesa just got him down and subbed him. Sucks. We move on. Up the card to another fight. Marlon Vera versus Deiveson Figueiredo. So, wow, Deiveson Figueiredo looked good in the first and third rounds. Now, there was a lot of worry that I had for him in the second round because he was starting to panic shoot takedowns. And I was very worried that he was going to start gassing out from panicking to get those takedowns because he wasn't getting them. He wasn't getting them. So that was very worrying. But he looked good in the fight. First round, he kept Figueiredo at bay, landed a few good low kicks, landed a few good shots, kept busier on the feet, and then got the takedowns as the round went on. And didn't do much in terms of damage, but he kept busy enough to show that he was winning the position because I know Vera was trying out a lot of elbows on bottom. So I'm sure Figueiredo was like, I'm not going to lose this while being on top. I'll throw some hammer fists. So he got the first round, in my opinion, pretty clear. Round two, as I said, he started to panic shoot takedowns. But I think Vera is mid, and Figueiredo's so good. Figueiredo is so unbelievably good. He's so good. As a flyweight, he dropped Vera in the third. His grappling is good. Everything is the right move that he makes. He may make the right move at a wrong time and then lose the takedown or lose this or lose that. But the guy shoots takedowns when guys leave them open for takedowns. The guy lands punches when guys are open for punches. He makes the logical move. Even if it doesn't work, he will make the logical move. And I actually disregarded that about Figueiredo's game. I always used to think he's some dumb guy. He hunts to finish too much and he'll... You know, this is why Moreno was landing on him so much, because he hunts to finish. And he may be used to it at flyweight because he felt so much bigger than them. Maybe at bantamweight, now that he has to respect his opponent a bit more, he's kind of honed his game a bit more. Like, he has to watch his P's and Q's, you know? So this was great from Figueiredo. Dropped Vera in the third round. Vera was getting close with some body shots and some shots here and there, but Vera's just that. Vera's like an ooh and an ah now and again, and then nothing, and then you're just getting outstruck because you're awful. Sorry. And you're just getting taken down because you're not stuffing takedowns still. And then when he's on bottom, he's just laying there on bottom. No attempt to get back up to his feet at all. It's like if you get Vera on bottom position, the round's done. 3 minutes, a minute into the round. Vera will leave that on the bottom. He won't try and get up. Crazy to watch. But Figueiredo dropped him in the third, hurt him badly with a big right hand, I believe it was, and then went for him. Nearly got KO'd going for Vera because Vera was swinging back, but he went for Vera. We never see people go for Vera. He hurt Vera and went, oh, I'm going to be the first guy to KO him. And you started seeing Figgy do the thing where he goes, you know? If you know, you know. When Figueiredo starts doing his little phase shifts that he was hitting on Benavidez in the rematch and shit, that's when you know he's feeling in the mood. When he was in the Moreno first fight as well, when he was shifting out the way and then he went body, head, head. Sometimes he gets in these modes where you're like, oh my God, is he going to finish Vera in this third round? And he would hit him with a knee and another big punch. But that's Vera done, I think. I think Vera's been figured out. I think Sandhagen is looking real bad now. You should have scored Vera a lot more. And that's why I picked Umar to beat Sandhagen. But yeah, Vera loses. Back at the queue with ya. Maybe a Song Yudong rematch. I know he's fighting someone, maybe Cejudo, who knows. And then for Figueiredo, Peter Yan, or a title shot. Or Umar for a title shot. We'll see what happens. But really good performance by Figgy. I like Figgy, man. One of my favorite fighters. He's so back. It's great to watch. I want to see him versus Yan if Umar is going to get the shot because they were flyweight and bantamweight champ at one point. And I wanted to see it then. We move on. Up the card. Shara Magomedov versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Ooh. 97-77 on significant strikes to Shara Magomedov. Now, the commentary would have you believe that Shara Magomedov cruised to an easy win where he schooled Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I'll tell you this right now. He's been fraud checked again. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk got his arm dislocated by Kevin Holland, and now he's taken this fight on a week's notice against Shara Magomedov. He's dangerous, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Don't get me wrong. This ain't Cody Brundage that Bo Nickal's fighting. I know there's level here. He's a level above the opponents that Bo Nickal has been fighting. I get that. But week's notice, he's pushing still in the third round. He's keeping it close in the third round. He knocked you off balance in the first because your chin was up in the air. Shara Magomedov's very good aesthetically not as a person, but as a striker. He's very good aesthetically. He throws great low kicks. They look good for a middleweight. Everything Shara Magomedov does looks great for a middleweight. Like, if you gave him knockout ability, I'd be like, oh my God, who is beating this guy? But the problem is with Shara Magomedov, he's weak. He gets taken down easily. He cheated again this fight because he grabbed the cage in the second round that stopped a takedown. And that annoys me because that could have changed something. It was with about 3 minutes left to go. He grabbed the cage and stopped another takedown. That's 2 times he's done that now. 2 times, not that he's done that. 2 times that he's needed to do that against schmucks on short notice. Sorry. I was not impressed by Shara Magomedov at all. Not at all. Looked bad. Had Mikhail Oleksiejczuk sliced open. He looked good. He had elbows. He was landing knees now and again. And he was winning. And he won the fight. It's impressive. But the talk around this guy is that he's going to be a world champ. Sorry. That looked like a guy who loses to Jack Hermansson. I'll go one lower. That looked like a guy who gets fucked up by Joe Pyfer. I'll go one lower. That looked like a guy who would get ragdolled by Bo Nickal and subbed. I'm keeping it real about Shara Magomedov, and I don't think anyone else is. He's not all that, man. He really ain't. And he was getting caught with shots. Body shots were open all night long. And I'm thinking to myself, man, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk can't really grapple. And he's getting you down on a few occasions. He's a good striker, but he resorts to grappling. He's not a grappler. If someone who's a good grappler and as good at striking as Mikhail Oleksiejczuk fights Shara Magomedov, that's raps. I'd love to see him versus Joe Pyfer or Bo Nickal. Ginger on ginger violence. A trifecta of gingerness. I'd love to see that because I need to see him versus someone who's actually going to be a problem. Not someone on a week's notice who even said going into the fight he thinks he's going to lose. Even though he gritted down and toughed it out. Respect to Mikhail. Respect to Shara. Both of them showed great chins. They're both very, very tough. I'm not seeing this elusive monster that's going to tear through the whole division, though. I'm seeing someone who's going to lose to Jack Hermansson. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing someone who might lose to Chris Curtis. Body shot finish. I could see that, you know? There's levels to middleweight. And he's not far enough ahead of this level. There's another level. Then there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. And you're at the top. It's tough. We move on. Up the card, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Cory Sandhagen. Great performance from Umar. Won the fight. Very clear as well. I thought he won the fight. What was it? Like 4-1. I actually gave Sandhagen the first round, but then I saw that Sandhagen came into the second with a cut. So I was like, maybe they give the first to Sandhagen. But although the scorecards read what they read, I've seen people being like, 50-45 is crazy. 49-46. I mean, come on. Because it did seem like a fight that was a 48-47. But it was that Umar was winning where he needed to win. He wasn't winning, 4 minutes of a round minorly and then losing the last minute of it, therefore losing the round. He was winning the rounds when he needed to put on some winning moments. So overall on minutes, Umar, out of this 25-minute fight, Umar probably won 15 of them and Sandhagen won like 10. Or Umar won 14, Sandhagen won 11. But round-wise, Umar was securing the rounds as he went through. So I don't have any problems with the scorecard. Very close fight, though. If Sandhagen did a few different things in some of the rounds, he probably could have got a few of them scored to him. But Sandhagen didn't do a few extra things. This is the problem with the fight that I had. I had Umar winning. I picked him to win. I thought Sandhagen to be too weak on the ground. That was my take. I thought Sandhagen wouldn't be able to stuff the takedowns. But I also said that Sandhagen's striking is fucking overrated, and I've been saying this. He's no finishing potential if you're not Frankie Edgar or Marlon Moraes. He doesn't. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. That's just a fact about Cory Sandhagen. He doesn't. He stumbled a few guys, like caught a few guys with something crazy, like a flying knee or a wheel kick or a head kick or a front kick. But if you ain't Marlon Vera or Frankie Edgar, he ain't finishing you, typically. And when you're in a fight with a guy who's grappling, you got to have the finishing potential. This is the Edwards-Bilal problem. You got to have the JDM in you, where you're going to let loose and go for a finish and actually slug some bombs at them whenever you get those opportunities to have those moments. But Sandhagen would stuff the takedowns and then go, oh, I better not throw any strikes now. I've just shown that I can stuff a takedown. It was a weird performance from Cory. People are saying the grappler's, striker's anxiety because the grappler's always going to shoot the takedown. And I get it. But then we need to get past that, especially Cory Sandhagen with all the mental stuff that he does before fights and the sports psychology and the meditation and the hypnosis that he does. You'd think he'd be able to not worry about the takedown the whole fight, but he was. He was worried about it. And to be fair, Umar got close to some dominant positions a few times when it came to getting the back. The same time, like the same way over and over again. He went for the back the same way. And it'd really end up in a position where Cory would be sat on Umar as Umar hugged on to like his bum. I'm not saying they're gay, but it was the position where Sandhagen sat on like Umar's chest and Umar's hugging on from bottom on his bum. I'm not joking. That was like a position they ended up in about 4 or 5 times. And that's where sort of the round would end. And then Umar would have had the grappling win and it would sort of teeter the table for the judges. Like any judge that would have scored at Sandhagen would then go, oh, Umar got that then. He nearly choked him out there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So Umar won the fight. I don't think it's a performance where I'm now like, this guy beats O'Malley or this guy beats Peter Yan. It kind of, if anything, showed me that Cory may not be the level that we thought he was. Just being honest with you guys. I knew he wasn't that level though, which is why I did pick Umar. But we'll see if Umar gets a title shot, dude. One fight against a ranked opponent, he wins it. Let's not forget that the ranked opponent had to fight someone else because he pulled out, and then he gets the ranked opponent back again. Another title elimination bout booked in Abu Dhabi. Just like Chimaev, who pulled out against Whittaker, and then Whittaker fought someone else, and then by beating that someone else, Whittaker then earned another chance at Chimaev in Abu Dhabi because it's so fair. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Umar's great. He could beat the top guys. He could be a champion. I think the other guys are going to be able to maybe, where Sandhagen's landing that left hook 4 times in a row in the 3rd or 4th round, if another striker picks up on that who's got some steam and who's got some intent to hurt an opponent, that's where someone's putting Umar down. That's when someone's dropping him and getting around for it. So we'll see what happens here. But very good fight. Technical stuff. I just think Sandhagen had another few gears to go to that he never did. Like Umar was in front of him, jabbing him 3 times, and Sandhagen would respond by switching stances, feinting a few times, and then doing like some weird move that he would move away from. And I'm like, this isn't winning you the fight. You've just been hit by a jab. You need to land something back. Oh, you're shooting a single leg in the 5th. You know, it was a weird one. It was like Sandhagen, I thought, was one of the smartest fighters. Some of the dumbest fight IQ in this fight. So good win from Umar. Solid striking. Stayed technically sound. Grappling stayed technically sound, never abandoned position or fumbled a position or anything like that. He stayed safe, even though Sandhagen gave him some good scrambles. But yeah, interesting stuff. See you later, guys. Thank you for watching Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. I swept the card on men's fights, so that's pretty good. See ya.